Good morning, fellow streakers. We have quite the show for you today. What we're going to do is it is Down's Kitchen podcast where we are making Belgian waffles this morning, and we're going to be talking about streaking because Chance, isn't that something we do quite often in our family?
Yep.
Chance is here with us. Bowen.
Yep, all the time.
When do we not talk about streaking? Is the real question.
It's rare.
I can't think
Of course, Jami is here with me, and we are excited to be talking with you. So let's get streaking.
What is streaking and why should you do it?
Streaking is how you set up personal winning streaks. Look at who you want to be and what you need to do to become that person. This is streaking.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jami.
And we are streakers. Through 30 years of marriage and 7 children, we have learned the power of consecutive consistency or streaking.
To start streaking is simple. You just follow these 3 laws. Make it laughably simple, keep a record, and join the streaking community.
Streaking is your hidden superpower. With it, you will consistently progress and grow in whatever area of life you want.
In this podcast, Jeff and I will share all the fun, exciting, serious, solemn, wonderful parts of family, spiritual, professional, and personal life, and how streaking powers it all.
So join us in the conversation, join the movement, and start streaking today.
Yay!
Yeah!
You know, guys, I got to have a little bit of streaking so that I can do the intro, but that'll be fine. All right, so we're making Belgian waffles. So you'll hear a lot in the background as we go through Belgian waffles, making Belgian waffles, but we're going to be talking a little bit about streaking. And I thought where we might start, Jami, is with you and Chance talking about what you've done recently and streaking for kids, because we've talked a lot about that, and you and Chance have just recently started some streaks that may be helpful. So I think that would be a great place to start.
All right, Chance.
So some of the streaks me and Mom have are, hold on. Review at least one state or capital.
I kind of put it as just review something about geography.
Yeah.
But what we're focusing on right away is the states and capitals. Yep.
And since I'm in 5th grade, I'm supposed to know my states.
Yes, you're supposed to know
also
the states
my
and
capitals.
Yes.
And I've been doing pretty good with my states. I know all my states.
How were you doing when we started?
I only knew like Massachusetts.
But Jami, this was kind of started by you a little bit as far as streaking.
Because we've talked about this a lot. Because Chance, you had streaks before.
Yeah, I had streaks before.
You had 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4, and I want to restart those streaks because they've helped me in my life.
And we lost them all.
Yeah, we all.
So Jeff and I, Dad. I'm going to call you Dad because
we're all there. We're all on this together. Absolutely.
We've talked about this, why it was hard for the kids to keep the streaks alive versus us doing it. And what we kind of are trying right now, which I'm enjoying actually, is that I've actually set the streak. So I have a streak to help Chance review a geography item at least once a day.
Right.
So we've been doing that. We've only, it's a new streak, so it's only 11 days old.
Right.
And already twice. So first of all, I was super excited because I felt like, Chance, you had a lot of progress. Like, you really did start not being able to identify more than 5 of the states.
But the thing that was different about this one, and I'll just to reemphasize it, was you were like, you and I were both like, it's your streak.
It's my
not
streak.
Chance's streak.
Yeah.
And it's your streak that you do with Chance. And the reason why, because we've tried to do it before where, like, for example, with Bowen, we said, do this streak or that streak, or with Chance we've done do this streak or that streak, and it hasn't lasted that long.
Right.
I mean, you guys haven't been really enthused about that.
My old streak do 10 push-ups a day. I got to like 200 days.
You did.
So
you were, and that was
great.
truly your streak. That was one that you really wanted.
But then the move happened and everything kind of got topsy-turvy.
So 2 weeks.
Happened and everything
For 3
got
cups,
tossed around and stuff like that. And I also had a streak of read 1 page of my middle school book, right?
Yep.
And to be honest, at that time, I didn't like reading so much as I do now because I honestly don't know, but
but you like reading better now.
Well, you started Battle for the Books, which was a lot of fun.
Then I started Battle of
I think one of the reasons why, Chance, you didn't get into that streak as much is because that was more something that I wanted
That
to
was
do.
when we started kind of
Yeah.
exploring this idea of maybe you need to set a streak
Right.
and it's a streak to work with Chance.
Right, because one of my streaks is to connect with one of our children at least one time daily. And one of the things that I could have done with you, Chance, is I could have said, I have a streak to review at least one page of this coding book or this math book. And these are really fun books that we found at Costco
Yeah.
that are a lot of fun. But it wasn't, I don't think, anything ever you were really interested in, Chance.
Right.
No.
I mean, kind of, but not
yeah,
really.
I was interested. I just had to get into the book a lot for me to actually be interested and to read a lot. I mean, usually I would just be like, I'd get home and I'd just do my streak, just one page. I wouldn't read more.
Well, but even
Sometimes-
that, I'd have to remind you and other
You'd
things
have
like
to
that.
remind me. I do it late.
So that's why I decided to change the streak. So we've been doing your geography streak for 11 days, 12 days. And I have noticed that it's easy during the school week, the
Yeah.
days that you have school, because we're in a routine
Mhm.
and you often do it in the morning.
Mhm.
But then one day we missed, and then the minute we went on fall break,
It just
it was hard.
completely dropped.
But it didn't drop because I don't know if you noticed the 2 times, how did I keep that streak alive?
You called me when I was in my bed.
I called you one night when you were in bed, and I asked you a question. What did I say?
You called
This
me.
was a
You
fun
called
story.
me
So
last
night, last night we were in bed and Jami, we were getting ready for bed and we were both in bed finishing up the last of our streaks. And Jami was going down through the streaking app and looking at the streaks that she hadn't yet completed. And the 2 were one geography item with Chance and one article of faith with Chance.
Because yesterday was a Friday, but it was fall break, so we totally did different things than our normal school routine.
And so Jami says, I said to her, well, he's probably still awake. You can go down there. And she's like, I'm so tired.
I
I'll
was
just
so
call
tired
him."
last night. I'll call him. So I'm sorry, Chance. That was probably
So
rude of me,
actually-
but I called him.
And she called and then she said to Chance, hi, did I wake you up? And Chance said,
Kind of.
Kind
And I all of a sudden I had my ringtone down, and so it just started buzzing, and I was like, and I all of a sudden got scared because me thinking like, is it an Amber Alert? Oh,
you can put that
then
And
So
because I
then-
don't call you at night.
no,
When I'm
no.
upstairs,
So
right
then
above your bedroom.
I look at my phone and I see mom is calling me. I'm like, why is mom calling me? So I answer.
Oh, come on. You
and-
knew I was calling you. You knew I was calling you for something that I didn't want to get out of bed for.
Sometimes it's to have them make popcorn.
I
for
know.
us.
You're probably thinking mom wants me to bring her up a soda or something.
Yeah.
Most of the times it is a soda or popcorn.
Not anymore though. I'm doing good with the soda.
Yeah.
But yes, most of the time
Um,
it is a popcorn.
And then she says, we haven't done our
Our
So
streak.
and
you-
she
you
just
put it in
she
the face.
just says we haven't done our streak. What's the capital of the state? And I was like,
I did. I said, what's the capital of the state you know?
and I was just like, I think Hawaii's like Honolulu
Yeah.
or something like that.
Honolulu.
And that's what I said. He said Honolulu and I said Honolulu. Good.
I said Honolulu.
Yep.
And, and you must have heard something different because I was like, Honolulu, I
Yep.
think.
There's the Honolulu.
And yeah, so then we got that done, and then I did like
Our
3
second
articles
streak is
of faith.
is an article of faith, which is things from
Word
church
of a
that were
couple.
that you want to memorize
Yeah.
before you kind of move to the next age group.
Mhm.
And we've been
And-
working on that. So those are the 2 streaks that we set. And it's been, so I don't know if you know, you've noticed, but there was one other day
Yeah.
that I had gotten to bed
Yeah, you
and we
got
hadn't
into
done the
bed.
streak, but I knew you were asleep, so I didn't wake you up. But I texted you.
Yeah, you texted.
I
me.
texted you and I said, hey, Chance, the state capital of Utah is Salt Lake City.
The thing is,
And then I typed in an article of faith and my mind, and so this is an interesting conversation, Jeff, because some people would say, how can you count that? Because Chance was asleep. And I did it knowing that he wouldn't read the text message until the
Yeah.
next morning.
Right. I
Yeah.
think that that's part of the laughably simple part of this.
Yep.
Because the whole idea is not it's not to do it perfect every time.
Mhm.
It's to do it so that you are doing it every single time. It's the consecutive muscle that we talk about so many times that's so critical to success, because it's so easy to get to the place where you can just let it go altogether.
Yep.
Rather than looking at it and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let this go. And here's how I'm going to get this done tonight. I'm going to text Chance, the capital of Utah is Salt Lake City. And that counts.
And that
Because
counts.
it's your streak. And I think that's the difference when streaking with kids, is the whole idea is it's the streak that I have that I want to do with them. Because I think of you and I, and for example, we have read at least a scripture together daily.
Mhm.
Well, there's been times where I've left you a voicemail.
Yep, you've left me a voice memo.
And a voicemail, not only a voicemail scripture, but also a voicemail prayer.
Yep.
And it's just like, because we weren't able to
we
get
weren't
hold of each other,
together
it's like, you know
yeah.
what, that is us being together, because I said it, you listened to it, but we made it so that we could do it. And that is one of the critical parts of this, is making it so that you can do it.
And it's been interesting because we had a conversation the other day on a run that a huge part of streaking is keeping it in the thought process, so that, because thoughts lead to action. And when it's continually a part of your thought process.
What were we talking about on the run? You were coaching me on something that I was thinking about as far as thought process. Do you remember exactly? I don't remember.
I don't.
Anyway.
But I do remember thinking, why have I not thought of this before? And especially where we are in our streak, which is early on. We're in the first, anytime you're in
We
the
are,
first,
meaning you and
Chance and I.
Yeah.
Chance and I are in the first part of our streak. And I guess I do call it our streak.
Yeah.
I do need you to be a
Because-
part of it.
Yeah. Because you can't count it without me.
Nope, I can't
doing
count
it.
without you.
And
And
kind
the
of-
point is for you to learn.
yeah,
the
to learn
states
states
and geography in
capitals
general.
and just
I think the point is to connect with one another. And I think the other point is to do continual education, to get to a point where Bowen and Chance and all of our children are excited about learning. And the way that we do that is the streak we do with them.
Right.
And so one of the ancillary benefits is, yes, you learn your states, and yes, you learn, but maybe he'll continue the streak on.
I would love to continue on and learn all the countries in
Right,
the world.
learn all the countries.
And
learn
I
all the
think you would
capitals of the
enjoy that.
countries. I mean, there's so much that you can continue to learn from this. And here's another interesting thing. What if Chance, as he gets older,
Yeah.
can he count the streak that he's been doing it, or does he have to start a new geography streak?
Oh,
Oh, that's
yeah,
a good
'cause
point. Because
Can I count it as just me doing it, or do me and you both have to do it? Because
That's a
that's
good-
an interesting.
I think you could count it
part
as just
about-
you, because you've still been doing it.
Yeah,
You've still
exactly.
done the
Yeah.
streak every day.
I think so too. Because the idea here is not to be so dogmatic that you're just absolutely, rigorous in this particular thing, but you look at it and say, no, I've been involved in it, you've been involved in it, now I'm going to take this streak on my own, which means if you and a Chance have been doing it for 675 days, you're like, you know what, I'm going to take it on my own from here on out. And he starts a geography streak of his own.
Right.
He'd start with day 676 and continue forward from there.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally within,
and
because the idea is the consecutiveness of it, and to
Right.
continue to do that. Go ahead, Chance.
And that's the cool part about streaking is it's not, since I was doing it with mom, I have to
Only do it
restart.
with
I have
mom.
to,
Yeah.
I have to only do it with mom, and I have to restart the streak if I want to do it by myself. It's more, okay, I've been doing it with mom this entire time, let's say 600 days, and I can just make a new streak of me just doing it. And since I've been doing it,
You can keep them.
I
yeah,
can
you
keep
the
that
days.
600 days up and not have to
Start
just
over.
restart from
Oh,
zero.
sorry, I'm going to interrupt just for a second. Well, we need vanilla, and we've got the butter, and you have the vegetable oil. Perfect.
So Chance, I've noticed, so we've talked about the 2 times that we did the laughably simple. What about the other times? Do you feel like you pick a state, you do one state, and then you're done?
No, honestly, so there's this cool app called Cetera.
Cetera.
Yeah, I think we can do that one.
And you can have this quiz where it's like,
Let's take
okay, it names a state and I have to click
not two
that state.
tablespoons.
And it's kind of like a multiple choice.
Mhm.
If I get it wrong, then it will
So go
say
ahead.
that I
There's
got it
another
wrong
set of
in
tablespoons, teaspoons right there.
red, kind of. And then I'll click the state that's correct, and it will
It'll show you that
it
you
will
got
show
it.
me that I got it correct. It'll color it in. And white is like
You don't have to
White-
tell them all
yeah,
of that.
white
but-
is just yeah.
yeah.
Chance gets into detail a little bit.
I
He
get
loves the
into
detail.
detail really good.
Yeah.
But it's been fun for me to watch that. For you, it was exciting at first.
Yeah.
At first, it was frustrating because
Yeah.
you didn't know very many of them.
Well,
And so we took some time. And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about streaking
Mhm.
is that wherever you're at, you can start where you're at. And so someone posted on the streaking app the other day, just yesterday, actually, last night, I was reading it, that she wanted to do Project Life, which is a scrapbooking, a digital scrapbooking website. I don't know if it's a website, it's an app.
It's an app, I think.
It's
Yeah.
an app. And where
It's
you
for
can,
family history and to record what happens right now.
and scrapbooks and
Oh, it's
digital,
just scrapbooking, yeah.
it's digital scrapbooks. And she, in the comments, she said, I've wanted to do Project Life, but it seemed overwhelming for me. And especially those kind of streaks, because oftentimes you're inspired by someone who's way further down the road than you are. Like the person, you're looking at what they've been doing for months or years, and you're inspired and you think, I want to do that too. So it's overwhelming because you're looking at how far they are and you're very much beginning. And so she said, I decided finally to set a streak to open the app. That was it. Just open the app. So her streak is to open the Project Life app. And she got that because somebody else on this streaking app has that as a streak.
Right.
So she basically adopted that person's streak.
Right.
And it was great because she commented last night and said, I've been doing it for 6 days and I already feel like I know a lot more.
It's amazing when you allow yourself to do the very simple.
When you allow yourself to
Yeah.
start where you
Like-
are and say, I'm just going to start here and all I have to do is open the app.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like with geography. That's why I was specific. It's like, just do one thing with geography.
yeah,
That's
just
it.
do one thing with geography. Just literally name a state.
Right. And
That's
so when
all I
we
have to do.
started and you didn't know hardly any of them.
Anything. That was even if I got it wrong, that was still reviewing a state.
Yes.
No matter what, it would be reviewing a state as long as I just thought of the state.
How many
Reviewing.
days do you feel like it took you before you could get 100% on the state on the app
So
that we were
I
doing?
feel like it maybe took me because I've been doing it consistently, and each day I've been like, okay, I want to. And each day before I knew the states, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna get 100%. I'm so close. And it would name the state, and I would be like, okay, let me think about this for a second.
How long do you think
How
it
long
took you?
did it take me?
Because you know how fast you go through the states now.
So the fastest time I've gone through them is 1 minute and 25 seconds.
A minute and 25 seconds. Perfect. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't think I ever memorized the states when I was.
You probably did.
No,
Didn't you
no,
learn the
I-
song?
You know what? When I learned them is when I started traveling to all the
Oh,
states.
yes.
Because that's how I learned more visually in that way. I think if I would have had this app, it may have helped quite
Yeah,
significantly.
Definitely.
It only took you less than 5 days.
I'd say maybe 6 or 5 days because each day I would be like, okay, I want to get 100% today. I just had that drive to
Right.
learn more
So
about
that
the
brings up
states.
something that's kind of interesting too, is the relationship between goals and streaks.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you just said there was a goal. I'm either going to
I want to
succeed or
learn all
fail
50 states
Yeah.
by a certain
by
time.
a certain time.
No.
That there is
That would
goal.
be a goal.
But the streak you want to keep going with. You want to continue that streak. So, for example, once you reach the goal of getting all 50 states in a certain amount of time, then what happens? If you only had the goal, I would stop.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have the streak, or because you have the streak with Chance,
Yeah.
now what Chance can do is say, well, now I want to continue this streak on to learning countries or capitals or major metropolitan areas or any
There's
number
so
of
much
things.
you can do. You can learn the flag. You can learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn mountain ranges down the road, or the Great Lakes, or
Yeah, and here I want to kind of state the difference between
okay. I want to hear this.
All right, what do you
Between
think is the
goal- I
difference between a
think-
streak and
and
a
a
goal?
goal. So a streak is like, so let me just explain. A goal is something that you do in a period of time from one day to another, or 1 month to another, or keep going. And a streak is just, okay, how long can I do this? And I've heard you guys talking about this. It's not, okay, it's not, I need to keep this. okay, how long can I
do
keep
this?
this? It's not I need, it's can. And
So you bring
that's
up
the
a good
difference.
point. There is a, and this is what I think Dad Dad had that same shift
Yeah.
when he looked at flossing his teeth, where it was like, I need to floss my teeth. There's a difference in the way that we speak to ourselves when we're saying, oh, I need to do this, versus asking yourself the question, I wonder how long I can do this. Yeah. And it does change it changes a little bit to the feeling of measurement. So we weren't expecting you to get all of the 50 states by a certain time.
Yeah, we weren't.
And the reason I could do that is because I've been streaking long enough to know if you're consistent and you're reviewing them every day, you will learn the 50 states.
Yeah, and
so we didn't have to put a timeline on it for what.
Yeah, that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Is you felt no pressure.
No
in that
pressure.
regard. You're just like, you know what, we just do this at least one time. And because the streak is just open the app or just look at one geography.
Just one geography,
just
learn one geography thing a day.
No,
Review.
just review a
Because
geography.
learn is a hard thing to
Yeah,
quantify.
learning is a hard thing because if I'm learning a state each day, then that would be a lot harder.
Then you're
it's not
holding yourself
laughably simple. Then it's like, okay, I need to review
Good
this
vigorous.
state every
Bowen right now
hour of the day
is
so I
stirring the
know
Belgian waffles.
where it is.
Oh my goodness, and they taste good already. Ooh, those are good.
So back to the difference between goals and streaks. How I think of what it is okay, a goal is okay, I'm gonna start today and I'm gonna go until, let's see here, December or something else. And it's like, okay, I've learned it and I don't need to do it anymore. Whereas a streak is like, okay, I'm going to do it every day and see how long I can do it. And that's pretty much what a streak is, how long you can do that thing for. So like that.
Okay, so that's good. you pontificated enough. Let's go over to Bowen for just a second. So Bowen, you've had a couple of streaks that you keep alive. So one of them is to read a verse of scripture every day. And how long have you had that?
392 days.
And do you keep that? Do you keep it in the streaking app? Do you keep track of it?
Yes, I do.
And how come you keep that? Because you've done that on your own. That's
That
not
one's
one
completely on your own.
Yeah. How come you keep that one alive?
Because in seminary, they kind of encourage us to read our scriptures.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better to keep a streak of reading the scriptures instead of trying to read them in
Like a goal or
like
something
a goal.
that. Yeah. So Bowen, you are.
And seminary is, just for people that may not know, seminary in our church is a class that coincides with school, but it's a spiritual class that you have each day, sometimes before school. Here in Utah, it's during school, but anywhere kind of where we were in Georgia, it was something that was before school.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
So you started that streak though when you were a freshman in high school, right? Yeah. And as a freshman, you just decided to do that? I mean, you're just like, you know what, I'll do it. Because you're a sophomore right now.
I am.
And moving forward with that.
So
Why are you laughing?
It's just funny to think how I'm a freshman in a new state.
And then you're a sophomore in another new state.
New state. Yes, we've moved our family around a bit this last couple years. So what helps you to keep that streak alive?
It would have to be seminary.
Seminary.
Seminary really helps me keep that streak alive.
What about through the summer? We just went through a whole time in the summer that you weren't in seminary, as well as moving. Like, how do you review your streak at night? Like, how do you know that you need to do it each day?
I have a streak of checking my streaks.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay.
So I check it every streak each night and see which one I didn't do.
Okay.
Okay, pause for just a second. New house. I need to know where the waffle iron is.
Right here.
All right. So keep going. So you have a streak to review your streaks.
Mm-hmm.
So do you do any other streak other than your streak to review your streaks and your seminary?
I have a bunch of streaks.
What's that?
One is to do a push-up daily.
Yeah.
Another is to.
And do you do that? I mean, have you
I
done
do.
that? Really?
I do.
When do you do that one?
right before I go to bed.
Usually
See,
you do one before you go to bed.
right before I go to bed.
You're like, I'm gonna hit a push-up.
Sometimes it's on the floor, sometimes it's on the bed.
I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then what else? What other one?
Other is to write at least one sentence in my journal daily.
And how's that one been going?
Pretty good.
Not real good.
Not really.
Yeah. See, now writing for you, writing and reading are things that are not necessarily your favorite things. You work hard at them.
Mhm.
Yeah. And how come? I mean, how come you have to work hard at? How come you have to work hard at them?
Because I've got dyslexia, which
I
makes
love
all
the way
the
you say that.
words
I've got dyslexia.
which makes all the words scramble around and jump up through the page.
It can be a little bit
Could be a little hard.
hard sometimes.
A little hard.
Yeah.
So we've got Bowen, who's a sophomore, and Chance, who is right now in 5th grade, and both of them experimenting. And this is our laboratory of experimentation with streaking, especially with kids. So Bowen has been able to keep a streak alive that he's been doing all on his own. But there's one streak that you guys, as Jami, Chance, and Bowen, have kept alive for a long time. And that's reading at least 5 sentences in a book. Now, how long have you been doing that particular streak, Jami? And she's going to look at it right now. While she's looking at that, this started out of the need to really want to read with and understand, have Bowen have the joy of reading, right, Bowen? I mean, because because you don't necessarily enjoy reading that much. There are times that you're tough. But let me ask you this question, just while she's looking that up. When you do read, do you use Audible as well as reading the book itself?
Mhm.
And is that helpful? And how come?
A lot helpful, because even with my dyslexia, it can help me fluently read a book.
Mm-hmm.
More so than actually reading it aloud. It can help me read a book fluently.
Right. So you're seeing the book as it's read to you by someone else. And does that help you with your fluency as well?
It does,
Yeah.
as well as reading aloud.
Reading aloud.
Reading aloud.
Which that's the other thing we do as a family is every night we read at least one page of scripture together as a family, and we all read aloud, and that's always fun.
Yeah, and it's really fun because sometimes we'll all be tired and one person will read, or we'll all just read.
Right. We interrupt each other. We try to steal verses from each other to read.
It's like a hop, skip, and a jump.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It's honestly a streak that we've had for almost as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like been there almost ever since streaking was created.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so,
we're good.
I have, let's see.
Chance always likes to just keep right on.
yeah, I just love to keep
Read at least a paragraph in a book now this is interesting because I have 1,945 days for Chance. And then I have 630 days for Bowen, even though Bowen has done it with us as much. But as you've gotten older, I had one night that you were gone when we were reading before I figured out how can I keep this streak out like this? Because it was one of those situations where we had started this streak when you were always home with us at night. And then as you've gotten older and become a teenager, sometimes you're off doing something on your own when I'm reading to Chance. And so now we've kind of divided it where there's times that I look at it and say, hey, Bowen, will you read a paragraph in a book? Let's read a paragraph together. And we don't do it, you, me, and Chance all together at the same time.
I'm sorry for having friends.
But that's been another one where
But I think it's important to highlight is one of the things that you did is you said, okay, so I'm going to break this streak out.
yes. So I
And
broke
start
it out.
and have a separate streak with Chance, which I can continue.
So that's what I have now is 2 streaks in that area. Read at least a paragraph in a book with Bowen, and then read at least a paragraph in a book with Chance.
So
To
that then
accommodate for
when
those
Bowen's out,
changes.
having a great time with his friends, that you can read with
I
him.
can read with him separate and don't have to wake Chance up to make that happen.
Yeah.
Also, when you guys were little, there were times that I would go in at night if we had missed it or something. So sometimes things happen, like we've been on vacation or we did something fun and we come home and everyone's asleep and we had
I
read.
do remember.
And
that
I
one.
read to you
I
at night
remember-
when you're asleep.
This
I
reminds you
remember
of the
this one.
story.
Yeah,
where-
the story when Mom came down to the basement in our Georgia house, and she just woke up Bowen and read to him on the steps because we were all sleeping
Because
in
all
the
the cousins
basement.
were
This
there.
reminds me of a story of a book that I read that's called "I Love You Forever."
Yeah.
And late at night, the
mom
would come in, and the boy was fast asleep. If he was really sleeping, she'd pick him up and rock him back and forth and back and forth. And while she was rocking, she'd sing, "I like you for always. I love you forever. As long as I'm living, my chance boy you'll be."
I love that book.
It makes you cry, doesn't it?
I do like that book too.
I love
I
that book too.
honestly
But
love that
that's
book.
honestly some of the times that you would do that. Is it's like, okay, they're sleeping, they're gonna get something, and go down and do it. And again, I think sometimes this could be considered fanatical. Well, that's a little bit overboard. But for us in our lives, and what it's done for us as far as the solid foundation of consecutiveness, it's really made it a lot of fun. Because we've had the game philosophy behind it, as well as the opportunity to learn and grow together as a family.
And I feel like we've gotten comments on both ends where some people look at it and think, well, that's a little fanatical. It doesn't have to be every single day for a daily streak. And then we've had other comments where people look at it and think, how is that ever going to make a difference? Like if you're doing some little thing, are you really doing
Right.
the
It's
spirit of
Right.
It's so easy. It's
That is not the fire
laughable.
alarm. That is actually the waffle
The
maker.
waffle
saying it's
maker
ready.
going
Start
off.
making
If
waffles.
it's laughably simple, how is it going to change anything in my life?
Right. And I think that's where the conversation came from, Jeff, where all action is preceded by thought.
Yeah.
And being able to have a streak that keeps it a part of your thoughts on a daily basis or weekly basis, depending on your streak, will produce action.
Yeah.
Even small action added up over time is still action.
Yeah. It really is.
And so that's where I look, and I would say I look at our family now, and we're a family that reads. We read together.
Yeah.
And now we don't even question about if we're going to read. It's more like when. Sometimes our creativeness in how are we going to do it?
Right.
But more of the things that we're asking ourselves now is, well, which book is next?
Right.
And are we going to do this one together? And Bowen, you're 15 now. How much do you like reading with us? Is it getting old? Do you feel too old for it?
No,
You still like it?
I do.
I read a
How
book
come
to
you
you.
still like it?
because I like hearing people reading a book,
Right.
because then I can understand
What about but what about reading with us? How come you like that? How come you like reading as a family? Because you
It's
can go to
comforting.
Audible. It's comforting.
It's comforting.
Yeah. You just feel like, okay, I'm at home.
Because oftentimes you're sitting on the couch or in a chair or the love sack and you're on your phones a lot of the time. But I'm just sitting there reading, and I do. And sometimes I'll say something like, are you guys even listening? And Bowen, you're always the one that's like, I'm
Yeah.
totally listening.
And you know what? We'll test them sometimes too, and they will be totally listening.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's an important thing to recognize, I think, just a little parent moment with teenagers, is that I once asked my daughter, I was teaching teenagers for something, and I was asking her how I can tell when they're paying attention. And and I was asking her because she's actually studying education now. And she was thinking back to when she was a teenager, and she said, the challenge is there were times that the teacher was completely engaging and I was totally listening to what was being said. But if you were to look at me, I don't know that my body language communicated anything different than when I'm not listening. And I remember thinking, well, that's great. How am I supposed to ever know when you're listening? But also on the flip side of that, what it did for me is helped me recognize that as teenagers, you're listening a lot more than I think what we give you credit for. I think there's a lot of times that you're listening, but it may not look like you're listening.
yeah.
And being able to, so for you, we read and you're often like scrolling on something on your phone, but it's enjoyable. And to you, that's relaxing and comforting, which is a great way to end our days. And we've read some really fun books.
Yeah, like
How many? I mean, I don't even know if you know how many.
books have
What
we
are
read?
your guys' favorite books that we've read?
Favorite books? A Monster Calls. That
Okay.
one was a really good one. Dragon Boy.
Dragon
This
Boy is
one
what
is
we're
a
reading
good
right
one.
now.
Nah.
Transalga?
Transall Saga.
Transall Saga.
That was a good
That
one.
one was fun.
The Cytonic. Not
Cytonic?
Cytonic.
Oh,
Skyward.
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 Yep.
Skyward,
but-
Starsight.
And Cytonic.
Not Cytonic.
Not really.
We didn't
We
finish
didn't.
Cytonic yet.
We didn't
One
even
time.
like really start it.
I
We
know.
didn't like it from the
So
start.
one time.
Cytonic wasn't quite what you wanted it to be.
No.
How about Little House on the Prairie? Do you remember when I read that one to you?
Nope.
Whoa, what?
Not
Really?
we
Did you
read
really
that.
read that too?
I did. I read you
You
the
read
whole
that?
Little House on the Prairie. Yep. You have to remember because we read the one part where she got like a tin cup for Christmas, and you both were
You guys remember
saying
that?
that's
I do
all she
remember
got
that.
for Christmas was
And
a
she
tin cup
loved
with
it.
candy in it,
Because
some oranges or something. Yeah.
I remember kind of like a meme that says an avocado,
Thanks.
Yeah.
a tin cup.
Well,
Very
I
good.
think that this has been a really good conversation and one that hopefully we've been able to share some of the ways that we as a family have applied streaking and how you can streak with your kids. There are a lot of applications to this. And if you haven't had a chance to download the Streaking app and just scroll through and look through the posts that are there, maybe Bowen and Chance will post sometime at some place where they'll be able to talk about their streaks.
My phone isn't letting me post yet.
You're right.
Okay.
So,
We'll get that figured out.
But if you download the Streaking app and have an opportunity, just scroll through the community and take a look at all the different posts that are there. If you have any questions or would like to talk to Jami or I, please shoot us an email at Jeffrey, Jeffery, at streakingmastery.com, or
Jami at JAMI at streakingmastery.com.
you're also welcome to follow us on any of the social media platforms. You can hit our website, thestreakingapp.com, and that's where all our previous podcasts are recorded, or also blogs that are out there. Also, download the Streaking book from either iBooks or from on the Kindle from Amazon. You can also buy a hard copy of the book from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or anywhere books are sold. If you wouldn't mind giving us a rating, and also rate this podcast and set a streak to pass it on to someone else. We'd certainly appreciate that. Well, thanks so much for listening today. Hopefully you've enjoyed our Belgian waffle making streaking conversation. Yep. Until we talk again next time.
Keep streaking.
It's the little things that make a better